So I would say that the compromise that they just offered is no compromise at all. In fact, it makes a bad idea worse.
Well, I'm a little puzzled with the use of the term collaboration and the notion that they've reached out to truly achieve common ground. I've not been invited to participate in any discussions. There are significant environmental problems remaining with their legislation. They either don't understand that they are weakening standards, or there is a deliberate attempt to mislead you about the items that are not included in their proposal. And there are several. One of the most onerous provisions is one that is unconstitutional, will invite a lawsuit, and is a complete violation of the public trust doctrine in that it allows the company to fill streams, rivers, and ponds, and lakes. Wisconsin's Constitution says that the waters belong to the people of the state. Not only do they allow them to violate the Constitution, but they suggest that they can mitigate the filling of a pond or a stream or a river in the Pinocchio Range, and perhaps compensate for it by setting up a pond here in Madison or Milwaukee. That is a preposterous anti-environmental provision that, as I say, will put this bill right into legal uncertainty. Let me give you a second provision that is egregious to the people who live in the area. There is a proposal in here that enables the company to expand the management zone of the mine from 1,200 feet to 2,400 feet. In other words, you extend the ability of the company to violate water standards and contaminate groundwater an additional 1,200 feet from the initial boundaries. The company's never publicly asked for it, nor has Senator Darling or Representative Voss explained why that's good public policy for the people who live 1,500 feet from the boundaries as we exist today.
That essentially quadruples the amount of land in question, so it's not merely a doubling, it quadruples it. Let me give you another just erroneous notion in what they're trying to propose. They have legislative findings that suggest that a ferrous mine simply is not one that we have to worry about acid seepage from. That's just simply not the case. And we know that because of what we know about the overburden in this area. We should continue to insist, without compelling evidence, that we use Wisconsin's current environmental law. Again, something the company has not publicly asked for, nor anyone really adequately explained to my way of thinking.
And remember the question that Senator Darling expressed several times, that this is clean technology. Mining is clean for the environment. If it is so clean for the environment, then why is the company secretly, quietly seeking these major changes in law that can affect a contamination of groundwater an additional mile around the project? The people in northern Wisconsin want the mine, they want the jobs, but they fear the mine, and most importantly, they fear a legislature making decisions that impair the quality of life that they have, that weaken the DNR's ability to effectively protect the natural resources, but tell them what's good for them.
The bill, AB 426, caps at $500 a violation if the mining company gets into the green tier program. I can imagine without much trouble some serious potential problems in the area that would certainly seem laughable to the public, who oftentimes can face more than $500 for a simple traffic violation. Now, there's something else in this law that is deeply disturbing. In the Pinocchios, I've checked, there is no state natural area. Yet the law allows for an exemption when natural areas are involved in terms of filling streams and and lakes and rivers. However, in the Baraboo Bluffs, we do have state natural areas. So I'm very, very concerned about something that's been thrown into the law that doesn't appear to impact the Pinocchis, but may have implications further down the line.
In the Assembly bill, they weaken the environmental policies because it may be possible that the company cannot fund the project under existing law, and they're using timelines as a ruse to hide the basic environmental issues that are at stake. And frankly, the real question is, why do we have so many changing bottom lines on an issue that on a bill that was argued was perfect until today? If anything, one could suggest that the agreement between Senator Darling and Representative Voss are nothing more than an acknowledgement of a very poorly written bill that came out of the Assembly that was attempted to be rammed through the legislature.
For the mitigation, they talk a lot about mitigating wetlands, and yet at the same time they're silent on whether they still intend to mitigate streams, rivers, and lakes. I feel strongly that the idea of providing a boat ramp on Lake Mendota or Monona here is not adequate when you're talking about filling in a lake or a stream in northern Wisconsin. I don't think the general public realizes that, and I think the more we have a discussion about what's in this bill, the more problematic it becomes for the authors.
If they bring a bill to the floor that you don't have a deal on, don't like, would you offer as a sub the Jauch Schultz bill? And if so, would there be 17 votes for it?
I think up until this point, we have operated on the assumption that there is much that we agree with. And we would like to reach an agreement to pass those things, as the governor has asked us to do, to make progress, to compromise. On the things that we don't agree with, I believe we can come back and deal with them in a more responsible fashion. Right now, what we have is a moving target without any real clarity to it because we can't see the language, and we're running the risk because of this sort of approach of walking away with nothing. That's not my intent. It's not Senator Jauch's intent. We would like to make progress towards making it easier to mine in Wisconsin, but we're not willing to do that at the expense of the environment that we all love and cherish in this state.
Out of respect to the Fiscal Bureau, they've asked that we give them the room so they can do amendments for joint finance, sale practices.
Let me say about that. You can hear right now that Representative Voss held his press conference, went out, put the gavel down without giving us an opportunity to comment, number one, and number two, have an understanding of what's in there. There's a lot of details. This is complicated stuff. And it's another example of a deliberate attempt to ignore the democratic process and just ram something through for public relations purposes.